Hello and welcome to Eat Sleep Code, the official Telerik podcast. I'm your host, Ed Charbonneau, and with me is John Bristow. How you doing, John?
I'm well. Thanks for having me. Good to talk to you again.
Are you faring the Aussie winter well?
Yes, it's starting to warm up slightly here. So, we're kind of coming out the end of the winter months here and starting to see more daylight, which is always a positive. So, just like in the northern hemisphere, the southern hemisphere has shorter days, obviously in the winter. So, it's amazing how that works.
Yeah, we're getting still hot summer weather, but we've had a couple nice days here and there. We went to the drive-in movie theater on Friday night last week, and it was like 71 degrees Fahrenheit in the afternoon, which was crazy for summer here.
Awesome.
So, yeah, it was about 20 degrees below normal. So we had a nice cool night to watch movies. The movies could have been a little better, but at least it was a night out, so it wasn't too bad. Getting on to some tech news, because that's what we do on this fine show. It probably helps if I share my screen a little bit better. There we go. Let's talk about some DevOps-y stuff here. You've got 15 new code scanning integrations with open source security tools. It's a GitHub blog post.
Yeah, this is basically raising the awareness of certain tools that you can use in your GitHub Actions, which is part of your workflow. And these ones are all open source for code scanning. These are basically static analysis tools that allow you to verify whether or not you've got any potential problems in your code relative to security. And they range in a variety of categories, as you can see. And so these are obviously ones that you can add to your workflow, and might help prevent some potential problems down in the future. So, just wanted to raise this as a potential thing you can do.
Very cool. And I don't know if many people know, this is like way off topic, but being a web developer, I noticed these things. Did you know that these like show and hide like accordion panels are a native thing in the browser now?
Yes.
This is like a no JavaScript required, no CSS required feature. And I don't know when it was implemented, but it just it's the details element and the summary element, and that's all you need these days. Like I've seen a lot of like, how do you do this in Blazor versus JavaScript, and it's like you don't even need any of those things now. You just write it and it works. There are actually a number
of native web controls that now ship with various browsers. I know that Safari and Chrome now have a date time picker built in, and these native controls can also be obviously rendered and customized differently if you wish.
Yep. Lots of good stuff there. Sorry to get off topic. The state of DevOps report is here. Is this kind of like the state of JavaScript, state of CSS type of thing?
Yeah, it's a survey of about 2,500 people, ranging on questions all related to DevOps, and it's basically a high-level summary of where we are as an industry based on that survey results. I don't know. It's kind of ambitious to call it the state of, right? Because it's not really. It's a survey of people in the DevOps space, but it does give you some insight into what people are thinking and how they feel about things relative to the industry. So as usual, DevOps is all about people and processes before tools. And so they talk about, cultural acceptance as being a continuous barrier. This will always be the case, I think, in terms of DevOps. But yeah, just some interesting insights there. I like these state of type reports. I think they're really useful in terms of getting a sense of what's happening. And so, yeah, if you want to take a look, you can check it out. And it's a PDF doc, and worth looking at.
Looks like it's gated. I don't have it. Otherwise, I'd take a little bit deeper dive into it. But
I have a copy of it. I was perusing through it. It was kind of interesting to see. But
covering things like containerization and different like popularities of Docker versus the other bits.
Yeah, for sure. So DevOps is always, as I was saying, it's always got this acceptance challenge with it because you're introducing definitely process, and you have to incorporate the actual aspect of people with it too, which surprisingly enough is actually an element of importance with an organization. But they were some of the highlights are things like, DevOps is not just automation and it's not just the cloud. It's about, making sure you're dealing with your people in your organization. Automation helps, surprisingly. Not a high potential number of people are using the cloud effectively. And in fact, if people are using the cloud are not doing so in the right way, they talk about team identities. They talk about cultural blockers. Platform teams are key to success at scale. So there's these various aspects that obviously are common tenets within the DevOps community, and they highlight and reinforce a lot of those.
Nice. Good stuff, man. Yarn 3.0, better performance, ES build, better patches. I haven't had a chance to deal with Yarn and NPM lately because I've been using Blazor and NuGet. So what do we have to look forward to with the new Yarn?
I haven't actually taken a look at what's new. I know that based on my experience with Yarn back in the day, it's a good way of managing your projects. It's a package manager with project aspects to it as well. And I know that with some people, it's incredibly useful and powerful. As far as what's new, this is the point of the blog post. I would point people there. But integration with shells, ES build support, new plugin APIs, etc., etc. So just stuff that's come with Yarn 3.0. We've been on 2 for quite a while, so 3 is now available. You can take a look, check it out.
I wonder how many people are using Yarn over NPM these days. I know it was kind of a debate for a little while, but then I haven't heard about Yarn for a while again.
Yeah.
So I don't know what folks are out there. If you're in chat, what are you using? NPM, Yarn? What's the other one? We talked about a couple lower popular, not as popular, like package managers out there for JavaScript. There's a few more.
Yeah.
It's like there's new one every week, but there's only a couple that are really strong right now. Yarn.
The ones that I always use are NPM. And,
yeah.
NPM is the only one I really use when it comes to JavaScript. But it seems to be the go-to one.
Yep. Scudshot in chat says the same thing. NPM. But at least Yarn's moving along. This is owned by Facebook, right? Or what?
Oh, I think I lost your audio there, but there we go.
Was that owned by Facebook? Is my audio? I lost everything. Okay. All right. I don't know if I'm still streaming, but it wasn't me. It's John. All right. So everything froze on me and John here. John, we lost you, my friend. So let me share the screen again. I was going to say, I believe Yarn was started by Facebook. If it is or isn't owned by Facebook, I can't remember. But Yarn is mostly maintained by Facebook engineers, or was. It looks like it's not anymore, but it was started there. And we've got some other news about Facebook I want to talk about when hopefully John comes back. Looks like he may have lost his internet. So let me check on John before we get too far and see if he's having some issues, either with StreamYard or his hardware. He might have had to, his machine blue screened, I believe, or something of that nature. And he is rebooting, and he will rejoin us soon. I'd love to have John's take when he comes back on the Facebook news that I have to share, because I know this is all his favorite stuff, And we'll get into this story in a minute. Let's talk about this while we're waiting for John to rejoin. New Google Pixel 6 and 6 Pro is shipping. Not sure if I'm a big fan of this design that they've come up with. It's got kind of this band on the back, which is kind of odd. I don't like cameras that protrude this much because they end up getting scratched really bad. So even though the device is thinner, I think you're going to end up with a case that is thick around the backside of this thing anyway. And John, we got you back, but I'm getting an echo through your audio. So I don't know if you got me on speakers now. All right. So we'll let John fix that momentarily. And yeah, this is a bad design. I don't like this design. It's not great. I've had wife and friends break cameras because of these big bulbous back cameras. So we'll have to see. I don't own any of the Pixel devices. I know the people that do own them like them very much. It is something that I would consider when I'm upgrading my devices, but I haven't needed to do that quite yet. I am an Android user, not an iOS person. So we'll have to see. I think. John, are you back? Did we get you?
I am. Sorry about that.
All right. Oh, no worries, man.
Did I have that pause face for a while?
Yeah, actually, it seemed like it froze the entire stream, and I just rebooted my stream real quick, and it seemed to work okay. But we're just taking a glance at this very odd-looking Pixel 6. I was saying I don't like the back. The back is too big. It's gonna end up getting broke if it's in my hands. I'm gonna set it down. The camera's gonna be scratched, and that'll be the end of it.
Yeah, I feel bad for hardware folks. I've seen CAD drawings that would just blow your mind on how much they have to like componentize everything and make it smaller and smaller. And they're obviously, the camera team is obviously different from the unibody team here. So yeah, I can only imagine the circuitry that's going in there. I imagine that whole sort of slit there is the entire camera infrastructure, and so yeah, unfortunately, it looks like they've been singled out here.
Yeah,
this is like the equivalent of putting a Thule on your car. It's like not enough room for everyone. Sorry, you have to go on the roof.
Yeah. I was saying it just a minute ago. You're probably going to end up having a case that fills out this empty space just so you don't wreck your camera on this thing.
Yeah.
So that's kind of a moot point on like, oh, look how much thinner it is, because it's going to end up being thicker in the long shot anyway.
Yeah.
But it's aluminum frame. I like that better than the glass that Apple used for a while there, where the whole phone just shattered if you dropped it.
Yeah. Yeah, I have to say, like, I'm a big fan of just give me something that feels solid. I don't want something that feels flimsy. I'm okay with having an extra gram or two in my pocket, but I want to feel like this thing is not going to break if I drop it. And this to me looks flimsy. It looks very plasticky. That looks, I don't know, I could be wrong, but I don't think people worry too much about how it feels in their hand over time. I think people don't mind blocky stuff, which is why the iPhone 5 was so popular and why Apple went back to that sort of design with not only its iPhones and its iPads. People felt like, okay, this metallic sort of enclosure is a lot better, and that affords them a lot more room for circuitry internally. So where space is a premium. I think the vast majority of it is, of course, the battery. I mean, the battery is obviously the biggest component by far of a phone.
Yeah.
But I'm surprised they weren't able to incorporate the camera better in this way. I think it has to do also with the lens. I mean, the lens itself is going to have a little bit of width to it, so you can't really get apertures without sacrificing a little bit of width. But
yeah, you're gonna have a lot of fisheye. Like, look to your photos if you don't have a nice big lens on your camera, but it feels wrong in some way. It just feels odd.
Yeah, it looks like a business card case or something, you know?
Yeah. Some folks say that your volume's a little low, John.
Oh,
I don't know if
sorry.
it settled out yet or how it's doing, but you sound okay to me. But
Apologies.
then I don't know how the mix is coming through.
All right, I bumped it up a little bit, hopefully. I don't want to
There
try
we go.
and drown anyone else's gain, so there you go.
So this is really cool. I like this, John. You shared this link, the
Yeah.
Knights of the Flexbox table.
Yes. So there's a lot of examples of this online where you're trying to learn a concept and they gamify it. And so what this does is it provides you basically a very primitive DOM, and then they encourage you to get to achieve tasks by writing the appropriate flexbox to move the knight obviously to the treasure chest. So yeah, we'll now watch Ed stumble through flexbox.
Yeah. So my problem is I know CSS and I don't know Tailwind.
You can,
So I
you
don't
can also
know-
choose different dungeons, I think.
it's
So we're
justif-
on dungeon 1 there, but yeah,
Wants
you could
justify
definitely,
and am I typing it in the right place? Oh, okay. It doesn't want the quotation marks. So I like
think it's
these
'cause you
though.
have
These are
yeah.
these are cool. There's a frog one that does something like this too, like
Yes.
CSS frog something or other. It's pretty cool. So yeah, it teaches you all of the. So here's my conundrum with Tailwind is these are pretty much one for one with the actual CSS that is required. So you're trading where you're going to put the CSS code in your HTML or in a CSS file. Yeah, Flex Froggy. Scudshot's got it again. Flex Froggy's another really good one. But this is cool. I like the design on it too. They even put a cursor on this, which is nice. You get a little sword. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I'm easily entertained, John. I'm easily entertained.
Perfect.
Look at that. Look at that. I know my CSS. I'm doing pretty good with this already. Let's see. What would this one be? It's going to be justify.
Oh, I just noticed there's that switch for let the bard play the music. What does that do? It's right underneath the title there. I don't think the viewers can hear that, but obviously if you turn that on, it might use some HTML5 audio or something like that.
Oh yeah, I don't think I have it shared. Where did you see that?
Oh, okay. It's at the top there. It says let the bard play the music. Yeah.
Oh, that's horrible 8-bit music that is drowning my ears. But yeah, that one's that's loud. This is a really cool example, though. I like it. If you're learning Tailwind, which a lot of folks are, I'm particularly not a fan, but it helps a lot of folks get started pretty quickly, and they have really great documentation. So can't hate too much when their docs are that good. Maybe if CSS had really fantastic documentation, we wouldn't need all these frameworks. Maybe that's a thing.
Yeah. Well,
But,
it's tough, right? CSS is so many things. So
Yeah. All right. I found this blog post by Khalid. He works over at JetBrains. He's got a fantastic blog, by the way, but he's been a .NET dev for a long time. He wrote kind of like one of those obligatory catch-all, like, these are gotchas in the .NET world. Here's some things that you should know if you want to be a real .NET pro. And there's some really good tips in here. There's some stuff in here about strings. He talks about using string builder over concatenating strings together. Some of these are useful, like memory tips, a lot of the string stuff. And then we've got a little shameless plug for ReSharper to decompile all dependencies. This one I like. Nothing is free. So you get like these nice libraries that you download that are supposed to do things to help you. And if you don't know what they're doing under the covers, the abstractions can help you shoot yourself in the foot. And Entity Framework's like a really big one for this. There's a lot of, you probably should never do this in any framework situations. One of those is just like calling your table and then throwing toList on it and then filtering it, because you're going to grab like literally every record from the database. You should always have some sort of skip take filter scenario before the toList happens. And that one catches even the pros lots of times. You really need to write those queries and then go back, circle back, and do some tracing on those to see exactly what SQL code they're emitting and how many records they're actually pinging from your database. But that is one that I've seen a lot of people get into. A lot of folks really don't know the difference between iQueryable and iEnumerable and how those things affect Entity Framework. That is something that I plan on doing another deep dive on, probably on Layla Codesit's channel. We talked about doing a session on her channel sometime on Twitch to talk about that. Tasks. Await and async. This is something that takes a while to really get a good grasp of how it works, and it always does something to bite you in the end. So that's another one to take a look at. Learn link. Again, iEnumerable. You gotta know what those do. So he's got a good post here about different things that you can do to really like step up your game as a .NET dev. And then, of course, you learn these things. You get to be kind of a higher level engineer, and then you can start becoming, into that senior dev realm and end up teaching these things to the folks that are coming into the organization. So
yeah,
great.
So my take on this is that if you're in this, you should really learn how to use your developer tools first and foremost. But more so than that, I think you should really learn how to debug. I think debugging is an often too overlooked art form, and I think that means going to tools like WinDBG, CoreDBG, using Visual Studio effectively with trace points, learning how to do crash test analysis, or crash dump analysis rather, being able to determine what's happening when. Debugging is what happens when programs go wrong, which often happens, and I think that the faster you can debug a problem, the clearer your knowledge of a domain will increase. And I think that debugging is a hidden art form. I don't think people spend enough time learning the debugging tools that are out there. And it's not just debugging programs in memory. It's also how are things serialized on the wire. What happens when you get into a race condition? A good example of that is the one that he cites in this article, which is related to the toList API. That is a problem that is encountered only after you've actually realized that the API call is taking a long time. Why is that? And witnessing it on the wire or being aware of what actually happens is going to be really important. So I think debugging is a really, really important thing to be successful.
Yeah, there's a bunch of different ways to get Entity Framework to show you, the number of records, the query it's making, and all of that. You can do it through SQL query analyzer tools, but you can also enable it now in the logging. They took it out for a while. I don't know why. So they used to be able to do this very easily. They took it out, and it made its way back in a different way. And I think you turn it on at the application level now, and it will emit in the debugger or the console output what your queries are, so you can see what's going on behind the scenes. Good stuff. I talked about this on the show before, I think, about how I used to use my TI-82, TI-82, 83.
That is a really offensive banner. Sorry.
I know. I'm trying to get it to shake off of here. So the TI-83 is what I think I had back in the day.
It
did not look this good.
No.
These are really nice. They're like iPhone level like design here. They took away some of the programming languages on them because the article says that people would use them to cheat. And this is exactly what I did. did I mention this on the show before? I went through my whole electronics university, cheating my way through with my calculator.
Okay.
Yeah, so I did that. It was nice because I just wrote VB apps that would prompt me for all of the inputs on the test, and then when I put the inputs in, it would give me the answer. But I figured if I could write the app, I probably knew the content well, so it was a win-win. For me.
It's embarrassing. I have a university degree and a minor in mathematics, and there's buttons on the TI that I've never seen or used before. I would like to think I'm pretty good at math, and there's buttons on there that I don't know what they do.
Yeah. So imagine trying to write code on this keyboard. It was nearly impossible. So I wrote an app for Windows that you hooked. At the time, it was a serial port cable that went to a headphone jack on the TI-84. So it did like it was basically like a modem connection. So you made this modem connection to your TI-83, and then you would type in Notepad on your PC and save it, and it would send that file to the file system on the TI-83. And that was a lot easier to type code in, but like we were talking about earlier, there's like no IDE, no debugging tools, none of that stuff. So if something broke, it just broke. It was nearly impossible to fix something that was coded poorly. You just kind of have to start over. But anyway, they took those things out. They took C out and some other things, but then they kind of decided they're going to put Python on there. And I still have TI Basic. So Python is on there now, and this is something that people feel hobbyists will enjoy, and I think that's a pretty cool thing to have on your calculator. I think I got more out of that than I did the functionality of the mathematics that you were supposed to use it for.
I think if I was a student today, I'd probably defer to Wolfram Alpha over this. I don't think I would spend the money on getting a calculator. I think I'd rather just sign up for Wolfram Alpha and use that for doing all my plots and everything. It's amazing. I show that to my son. We're doing grade 7, grade 8 math with it, and it's amazing how it just it'll take a standard equation like x equals y plus 2, blah, 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 and plot it. But it'll also take that and extend way beyond that. This is Wolfram Alpha, by the way. It will take and go way, way beyond that. It will give you reasons, and it will tell you this is this theorem, this is that theorem, and it's incredible. Its power, and it has an app on the iPhone now. So, I don't see a reason to use a TI anymore. Well, I think I'd rather just use an iPhone.
If you're in university, they're going to tell you, you go in for your test, everything goes in like a locker or stays home except for this. And then you go in and take your test. That's what happened to me. We didn't have smartphones, but we weren't allowed to take in notebooks. We weren't allowed to take in paper. We had our pencil and our calculator, and everything else was stripped from us at the door. And you just walk in with those two items in your hands. You're not allowed to have like a backpack or anything else. So they're not going to let you have an iPhone and Google. So you have to pony up for one of these and use it to do your test.
I've said to my boys, listen, after a while, yes, a calculator is necessary. And then after that, it's like, you should try and get as much help as possible to find, because really it's about, do you understand what it is that it's telling you more than the actual result. The result, people get to results quickly, and they don't understand the application of what it is they're actually doing.
Texas Instruments is always one of those companies that I find strange. Like, you have the calculator and a couple other products, like what else do they have? But most of the other stuff is like discrete circuits here. Like, we've got like 555 timers and switches and all of that sort of thing. And I ended up working with a lot of their semiconductors. But the calculator, like, where does that fit in their business portfolio? It's like, oh yeah, and the calculator. It's different. I used a lot of that calculator, though. It's cool to see. It had like a USB port and all kinds of stuff on it. And now for your favorite part of the show, John, we're going to talk about the augmented things, the hack your face things, the virtual life things. So Facebook teaming up with Ray-Bans to launch a smart glasses. This will be interesting to see how these are implemented. They kind of announced it. I haven't seen any like real video or anything of it being used, but it looks like they're at least teaming up with a sunglass eyewear manufacturer that has a good street cred of being design focused, right? These, Ray-Bans in the US anyway are pricey sunglasses at best. Like they're not cheap. So it's kind of like your iPhone of glasses. A lot comes with that brand name. So it's interesting to see them team up with the Ray-Ban company. So we will see how that turns out. But let's get to this Metaverse thing as part of this here. So in that same announcement, Facebook CEO says that the social network is becoming a Metaverse company. And I tweeted about this. I don't know if you saw my ravings online. I've been talking about this for a long time, John. You know it because we've known each other for at least like 6 years, maybe.
Sure.
And I've been I'm like the crazy guy in what was the movie? Was it Little Nicky where Quentin Tarantino's like the crazy, like the sky is falling guy, and he's like ranting and raving, "The devil's coming, the devil's coming." Have you ever seen that, Little Nicky?
No.
Oh, come on. You haven't seen Little Nicky? It's like one of the best Adam Sandler movies ever.
I hate Adam Sandler.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Sorry.
Oh, John. I just unfollowed you, by the way.
I don't think he's funny. I honestly don't. But whatever.
So the joke of the movie is, you've got this big name actor, or well, I guess he's an actor, but more producer and filmmaker. Quentin Tarantino's in the movie, and he's the usual like nutter that's got like the A-frame sign that says the world's ending, and he's running through the streets of New York, but the world actually is ending because Little Nicky's the son of the devil, yada yada yada. Okay. So anyway, that was the reference that you totally missed. I've been kind of beating this drum for a while that this thing is happening.
It's
even
happening,
chats like
whether or not anyone's gonna use it is up for debate, I think. So.
I don't know if it's a thing that you use or it's just going to be, it is what it is. So the idea here is Facebook wants to be kind of the trendsetter in this space. And I think their position here is Facebook is an app. The Oculus and the software on it, hardware and software, but the real basis for all this stuff is the data. So you've got, all the social media data, and that is going to start appearing in more than just the Facebook app and the platform that is Oculus. And it's going to be on, augmented reality devices. And it's kind of like the Microsoft Graph and that type of idea where the data is just the backbone of everything. And the data is going to help augment different things in your life, whether it's, you're in your living room and everybody in that living room has these Ray-Ban augmented reality glasses on, and, your home decor may vary by person to person, depending on what they've, made this space look like. They can customize what pictures are hanging on the wall and where the television is and that type of thing. So you get into this metaverse concept where you have multiple universes that overlay on top of each other depending on what that person's tuned into. So just like you have many apps on your phone, you could have many settings for a three-dimensional real world space depending on what app you have loaded into your AR headset or whatever your devices in the room. Maybe they're IoT devices or, home smart home devices, whatever they are, whatever apps they're running, kind of augment this reality that you have. So I think that's the idea here is these, kind of what was the name that Ray Kurzweil gave all of this stuff? He kind of went a little bit deeper on like uploading your conscience into it. I don't think we're quite to that point yet. The singularity, it's like kind of a step in that direction.
Sure.
I don't think it's going to be like the Ready Player One type of thing. I think that was more like a virtual world everybody stepped into, where this is going to kind of augment the world that we already have in front of us. So I think that's my take on it. That's what we're going to have is Facebook is going to expand from being an app to features of it being available within the, just the world around you via other devices and apps and AR technology. You're very quiet, John.
I have nothing to say.
You're like, please stop talking. You're scaring me.
No, actually, you're not scaring me at all. I just think that this is, I don't know if people want to do this.
I think they will. I see how my young people use technology, my kids. They are constantly on Snapchat and on TikTok. Snapchat's heavily invested in AR. Okay. They're always putting filters on themselves to look like cats and dogs and crazy things. And I think this will be kind of the norm. Like you're sitting there on your couch, your kids are looking at you, and they see you in a dog costume or whatever it is, and that's great for them. But you look at them and you've got them augmented however you want. Maybe it's not at all, or maybe you can mute them. Maybe that would be a great thing. I don't know. Maybe you just like click a button and sound canceling, takes care of whatever nonsense they're telling you about, what trend they saw on TikTok this week. I'm being cynical now.
That is a very interesting photo.
This one?
Yeah.
That's not a creepy look. I mean, come on. That's
my new background.
Right there, John. I'm going to get that blown up and print it out for your office.
Sure.
And then you could put on AR goggles.
Yeah.
And, you can get the new AR Ray-Bans, and then you can reformat this picture on your wall to just be something completely different and ignore it.
Sure.
That's where this is headed. I think that's where it's at. So with that said, if you want to learn about these technologies and find some practical application for them, I caught this really cool how-to article on docs.microsoft.com. And this is a build a mixed reality digital twin with Azure Digital Twins and Unity. So that's a big mouthful of stuff. Let's unpack a little bit. Have you heard about this digital twin thing, John?
I am actually a twin. I have a twin sister, so I know all about this.
Is she a augmented reality digital twin, or is she a real world?
No, she's very real.
Flesh and blood twin. I think I may have actually met her. Did she come to one of our Microsoft builds before?
Oh God, I hope not.
Okay, maybe that was your wife then. I've met some of your extended family. I don't know if it was your wife or someone came to build one year. Probably my wife. But yeah. Okay.
I would imagine this is all about what creating a doppelganger for your digital self.
I love how your response to "Have I met your sister?" is, "Oh God, I hope not."
No. I was saying she hasn't been to a tech conference. I try and shield my non-tech family from my technical life. I try and keep those two distinct.
Gotcha. And yes, I have watched Black Mirror, and it is very accurate. That is stuff that is happening. It's not as much science fiction as one might think. So the digital twin thing, if we click start here, this is a really cool tutorial. I hope to actually do this live on stream. Maybe this fall or early next year, I think I'll do a stream on this. There's quite a bit of tech in here to get involved with, so it may take a while to burn through all of this. It's designed
what is it doing? What is the ultimate end result of all this?
Oh, this is really cool. Okay, so first of all, it's designed for HoloLens and VR, but I think you could do this through emulators if you don't have the devices, like the physical devices. So what you're going to do is use Windows Mixed Reality, Azure Digital Twin, Signal R, and Unity. So those are like some heavy hitting like next gen platforms right here. We all know Signal R probably on this show, at least most of us do. That's like real time communication. The Azure Digital Twin we'll get into. This is really neat. So the idea here is that you're going to build a clone of something that exists in the physical world, so you can kind of emulate that thing and test it before it gets created. So let's see if I can get the final product here, what you're building, because this is really amazing.
A note to people writing tutorials like this: show the end result first, so that people know what they're building.
I do like that. And if I zoom out, I think there's actually a sidebar here that lets you skip through the content a little bit better. Where did I see that before? Maybe it's under browse.
You got to answer the question, why? Why would I do this?
All right, hang on.
What is the digital
I'll get you
twin?
there. Oh, here it is. This is the overview I was looking for. So the overviews are in here. So if we go all the way, I think, to, is it use case introduction? Yeah, here we go. This is really cool to me. I like this. So what you're going to end up building is this augmented reality display that lets you simulate these wind turbines. And this is going to be your digital twin. These turbines are the twin of what would be a real physical IoT device. So you'd have in the real world, I love how IoT is kind of transformed from, we used to call it PLCs, programmable logic controllers. Now everything's just IoT. But basically you have in the real world these giant windmills that you're maybe writing software to be like a dashboard for these things or something. But in your digital twin, before those windmills ever exist in the real world, what you want to do is build them and then build an interface for those and test different wind scenarios. Maybe there's error scenario where one of the windmills is broken down. How do you represent that to your users so they can go out and fix it, and your engineers can go out and fix it? You can do a lot of different things with this, and you could even make it to the point where this is not covered in the tutorials. This is just me kind of brainstorming. But what you could do with something like this is even before the wind turbines are built, you could have a scenario where this thing breaks down, and inside of your AR VR app, you go in and physically go up to the wind turbine in VR and then repair it in virtual reality. So you could get a lay of the land and climb the ladders and learn where the different compartments of this thing are and how it's constructed. And then you go out and build it in the real world, and you already have trained employees ready to go in and make use of the hardware, software, and physical space that's here. So that's your digital twin. So this takes you through the experience of building that digital twin. It lets you build 2D and 3D environments. You can deploy this to a HoloLens or some sort of Windows Mixed Reality headset, which I think the Oculus is one of those. I have to double check. I'm pretty sure it can be. But yeah, this looks like a lot of fun to me. There's a lot of like high-end tech here. Like this is the new space to be in. Is this stuff because of that whole metaverse conversation? Like this is getting into that metaverse again. This technology here, the digital twins, is just one aspect of that idea.
It's a 4-hour tutorial. That's quite a long tutorial.
It is. It's a long one, and then I mean, look at all the things it covers, though: IoT hubs, Signal R services, Event Grid, Event Hubs, HoloLens, Windows Mixed Reality, Unity. I mean, this isn't like it's a beginner tutorial, but not for beginners of programming. Like, you wouldn't just take this on if you just come out of an online workshop or something. This is somebody that you've done this a little bit and you're trying to get into new things like Unity. Maybe this is more your speed, I think. So cool stuff. The future is now, John.
Is it?
If you wanna, it is. Get a VR headset, John.
No.
Get a VR headset. Put it on.
This is the only headset I'll wear. This one.
Escape your reality for a little bit.
Yeah.
See,
this is by necessity, and so is this. VR headset is not necessary to me.
Not yet. Not yet. When you're the only person not in the metaverse, then maybe you'll feel different, John.
Sure, I'll be that old man, who's got the broom handle hitting the ceiling above him in his apartment. Turn it down.
I think this was actually a Black Mirror episode, by the way, Jason, where like the whole family goes into the upload their conscious into the machine type of thing, and the husband stays behind miserable, and like his whole family's gone, and he's like, I'm staying in reality. Just like John is here. It's like,
sure.
Zuckerberg's talking like big, but if you actually want to like get in there and build the stuff and be on that cutting edge of things, this is like the tutorial for it. Like, this is that next gen architecture for doing augmented reality, digital twinning, IoT. Like, all of those technologies they're heating up. So if you want to be that next gen developer, this is where you go. Somebody on my Twitter commented like, there's still going to be plenty of work with web and 2D and all that. It's like, yeah, that's true. But there's this is the future jobs. Like, this is where the next things are going to be happening, in my opinion. So,
all right.
Like the next mobile, you know what I mean? Like, when the iPhone came out, everybody was trying to build their first app and make their millions. This is where that space is going to go. Yeah. We never hid that fact from anyone, Curious Drive. John is definitely the get off my lawn guy. I go there too quite a bit, but for some reason,
get off my virtual
this
lawn.
Stuff is cool. Yeah. Can you come up with a full tutorial from scratch for .NET development? There are some for .NET. Sorry, this is coming in from YouTube here. So there are some things that cover that in docs.microsoft.com. And then I have a pending contract to do something like that. I'll talk more about it when we come back in September. I should have the contract in place by then. So I have a workshop of my own coming to do something like this, that kind of that type of tutorial that you saw. So speaking of coming back in September, John, we're going to take a little break here in August. We've had a long spring and summer of streaming. Personally, I've done, I think, 4 streams a week on average. So that's probably, I want to say, about 10 hours a week of video streaming every week for the last, 6 months. It's a lot of content. It is extremely hard to come up with topics for all of that. And I am just one of many people on our team doing this. So hats off to all of them and people like Jeff Fritz, who streams even more than I do. Like, this guy's on all the time. I don't know how he does it. So amazing work by everybody there. And we're going to take a little break. We're going to take a small hiatus for the end of summer and come back in September again. We're getting ready to announce this soon. I don't know if we've publicly said it yet, but that's what the plans are. So if you don't see us here on Eat Sleep Code next week, we will have other things planned. We have special events coming. We have a day of ASP.NET that will be on air August 18th. And we have amazing guests from JetBrains and Microsoft and Microsoft MVPs coming on to talk about what's new in .NET 6 in the ASP worlds, like gRPC, microservices, and minimal APIs is the topics that we're going to cover. Should be a lot of fun. Sam Basu and I will be hosting that. We will not be strangers, but we won't be on daily like we've been. And then September we'll come back, maybe some different show ideas. Who knows? But John, we'll come back and do our podcast.
Sounds fun.
But we'll just have a little breather for a couple of weeks here. So maybe we come back with some fresh news and things to talk about.
Awesome.
All right. So stay tuned to the Code It Live channel. We're not, like I said, we're not going anywhere. We're just going to do a little bit more special events this month than we are just regular streams, catch up on some blog posts and some other work that we're doing at Progress. And the special events will be nice to have with, guests that you don't normally see on the channel. And, just hit that subscribe I always get these confused on Twitch because subscribe actually costs money. We don't want you guys throwing money at us. That's not what this channel's for, but make sure you follow because you'll get alerts if you follow, and we'll let you know when those events are going live. Other than that, any last words, John?
Nope. Wear your mask, get vaccinated, etc., etc.
Much agreed. Yeah. Can't agree enough on that one. So yeah, hopefully we have some better news to share when we do come back in that regard.
Yes.
I'd like to get traveling and things again, and that's not looking so well right now. So hopefully those things change. I'd like to come out and see some folks in person again. But until then, we'll see you on Code It Live. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.